Hello, I'm the CommanderZander. I remember it so that a sound critic doesn't have to. And neither should you. Well, if you've seen Hobo reviews, which clearly you probably haven't since Willie hasn't gotten many views for his reviews, it's not my fault, Mama. I just sum up the good movies, Mama. Including The Odd Couple. Ooh, The Odd Couple. Spoiler. Yeah, that movie. It was a great one that had Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon being as hilarious as possible. And then the two did other movies. In particular for Walter Matthau, he did The Bad News Bears, but they did other movies. And then they decided, you know what, since we're gonna die soon, let's have one last hurrah. Let's make a sequel for The Odd Couple. A mere 3 decades later. Way to ride that cold streak, guys. The Odd Couple 2 came out shortly before Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon flew the coop. I'm serious. This movie came out exactly 30 years after the first one, and 2 years before Walter Matthau died, and 3 years before Jack Lemmon died. In other words, this was their last movie that they did together. And they wanted to show a new generation what The Odd Couple was all about. Well, in my opinion, it was not that great, and I can vouch for it. Rotten Tomatoes gave the first movie a 100%. The sequel, not too kindly. So with that, we're going to delve into The Odd Couple 2 and just see how odd of a sequel it is. But first, credit for the movie goes to Paramount Pictures. They are responsible for this movie. No, this is not for monetary purposes. As we start with the usual Odd Couple theme song. Shut up, Lily! We're at Sarasota Field in Sarasota, Florida, and that probably means spring ball. Or Bad News Bears ball. A keen tribute to, the Bad News Bears. This is 30 years after the Odd Couple movie. No, literally, this movie takes place 30 years after the first one. As you see the title, by Neil Simons. Oh good, senior citizens. As we see our beloved goofball Oscar still covering sports, now in the nice balmy retirement state of Florida.
Just missed someone in the crowd. What crowd? We could all go home in one car. Maybe you should lay down a bunt. This guy couldn't lay down a carpet.
As you can see, a very sparse crowd is seeing two pathetic teams play like pathetic teams. No wonder why this movie stunk up the joint. Well, not mainly the reason why, but this kind of sums up the movie in a nutshell, and we're only 1 minute into this movie.
What was I gonna do? They sold a paper to an Australian. Lucky for me, they didn't sell.
So Oscar the Grouch decided to move to Florida after, things didn't work out in New York. And oh, by the way, two characters whom you might remember from Seinfeld. Oh, by the way, this was about to end too. Seinfeld was just about done by the time 98 rolled around. And these are two of the characters from Seinfeld.
I hate a woman who talks like Muhammad Ali. Hey, Conchita.
Tough loss today, Oscar?
Yeah, I'm suicidal, honey. If I call 911 tonight...
So we see that Oscar gets a phone call
She's very smart.
in the middle of a poker game. Because Oscar likes to play poker. He talks to his son, and guess who his son is married to, which surprises Oscar. Although not to everybody else.
Not one of those 6'10" basketball players, is she?
As long as she's thin.
Eey.
I can't hear you. She's whose daughter?
Oh boy.
Whose? Oh my God.
I think he was going to have a heart attack. Yes! That would be Felix the Nut. And all his weird-ass ways of clearing his vocal cords because of his weird allergies. Yes, in case you're wondering, Oscar's son is marrying Felix's daughter, which essentially reunites the two main characters from the first movie. Oh, how much fun will that be?
The planes at the airport were smoking while they were in here. I'm very sensitive to that. Well, I'm
Felix
sorry.
is,
The entire place.
if you haven't seen the first movie, well, Felix is a sensitive one.
Ma'am.
Which is probably why he got that divorce in the first place and why he was about to commit suicide at the beginning of that movie. No one wants to be around a goody two-shoes, weird sense of stuff type thing. Seriously, who the hell wants to be with that type of person? If you want to go out with someone, I'd rather have a lady go out with Playboy than this weird one. You want to know why? Because Playboy doesn't complain about anything. Well, that's kind of a bad example because he doesn't complain at all about the ladies. But seriously, he doesn't complain about anything. This one complains about everything because nothing seems to be right with this weirdo. No wonder why he got a divorce.
Just forget it. I'll manage.
Felix the Nut walks back to his plane and deals with his weird sense of allergies.
Tell me when it hurts.
He runs into Oscar. No, literally, they run into each other. He trips, he hurts his foot, and Oscar obviously is going to leave the baggage, which conveniently is plastic bag.
2, 3.
Convenient. One's in New York, the other's in Sarasota. Wait, why Sarasota? Why not Miami? And Convergent, California. Oh, and you're not going to believe where the two are going to have their wedding take place. Some weird city in California that's not Los Angeles.
Sock. What am I, an orthopedic?
So they go off and leave his suitcase, which... yeah, that kind of makes sense for Felix. He is a nut. He plastic wrapped his fucking suitcase.
It's not a foot anymore. It's a piece of frozen meat. Well, hang it out the window. It's warm out. God, I'm starving. I haven't eaten since last night.
So they are driving, and they're right back to where they left off 30 years ago. Or in this case, 17 years ago. Because these two haven't seen each other in 17 years, even though this takes place 30 years after the first movie. So my question is, what happened to the 13 years after the Odd Couple, but prior to the 17 years of their separation? We never solved that freaking mystery. So what's up with that movie?
17 years, Oscar. You couldn't even remember that we haven't seen each other for 17 years?
Of course he's gonna be obsessed with that because he's a neat freak, and meanwhile Oscar is a lazy slouch.
Your ears got bigger, your nose got longer, but you still retain that unique, elusive, pain-in-the-ass quality that drives...
Notice how these two are getting along quite well, in a geezer way. Which at first is funny, but quite frankly gets annoying rather quickly.
That line on the Jerry Seinfeld show.
Seriously, they spend like 10 freaking minutes driving. That's all they do. Drive and catch up. Drive and catch up. Oops. He's just like the crows from the Windex commercial. He thought it was open, but it wasn't.
Sorry.
It's a good thing he wasn't banging on the window. That would have been a completely different story. It's okay to get wet. As they drive along the same road, well, I don't know if it's the same road from the infamous Bronco chase.
What's the matter? You sprain your...
Oh, now he's cleaning the window.
Myself. I shouldn't have yelled at you back there.
So you're pissed at yourself for yelling at Oscar? Why would you be pissed off at yourself? That's what makes you weird.
But I'm glad to see you anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Who gets pissed off because they were mad at someone else? Felix the Nut, that's who.
I was some kind of nut in those days, huh?
Yeah, that's why you're called Felix the Nut, Felix the Nut.
I guess I still...
Oh, by the way, they get lost. They just drive for like 10 minutes, go nowhere, and get lost. Then they end up stuck in the Sahara Desert. Or Death Valley, as I like to call it.
What are they gonna...
Or maybe it's the Silicon Valley. I don't know. Some kind of desert. I'm just as lost as these two are. So they're walking around and going absolutely nowhere. And then they run into some hitchhiker.
San Tamale, San Taco Bell. We'll go any place.
See, they don't even know where to go. What the hell kind of a city in California is not LA for a marriage? Why do they have to go there? Why not just make it LA or San Diego even? If it's a San Francisco, San Andreas, San Diego. No, we gotta come up with some weird sand name that no one's gonna freaking remember, and that's why they get lost. God, and we're dealing with two geezers, may I remind you. They get lost rather quickly. Not a brilliant idea, movie.
From here, I'll take you there.
Oh, gracias.
So, of course, this is all an alien immigration type thing, and they get arrested.
Take some
Because
six
they're
on.
caught in the wrong place at the wrong time.
We'll just tell them the truth. Hey, there's our guy.
They eventually get free because that person confesses, so they move on to a bar and hello. Well, if it isn't Leonard's mother.
Felix over here. They call me Oscar.
Hi, Felix. Hi, Oscar.
Hey, Playboy, I think I found 2 middle-aged women for you.
You're not Louise.
Really? Let me see.
Haven't been asked that about a million
Click.
times.
Okay, how about this? Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? What am I doing with those two?
So what are you?
I don't know, because they're freaking hot as hell.
So wait, where you headed?
What do you think? You think Playboy should date those two? If so, speak up in the comment section. Or better yet, you could even ask the question down there. I'm sure he'll put it in his next video because he's coming up with new ideas every day.
To sleep in, could it?
Now, Oscar, if I didn't know better, I'd say a nice old grandfather like you is trying to hit on a couple of ladies.
I'm not as old as I look. I had this plastic surgery.
As evidenced by the dyed hair. Oh, total middle-aged, midlife crisis type moment.
Say much, does he?
He's the doctor who botched it up. Call the shots the rest of the way. Please, Felix.
So he tries to convince Felix to have a night with the ladies, even though they're supposed to leave in the early morning to that See, I can't even freaking remember the name.
You're a very smooth dancer, Oscar. What's your secret?
Leather soul.
Anything closer?
Bam!
Like you?
I bet Playboy would like some of that action that Felix the Nut's getting.
What are you, divorced or single or what?
Something like that.
Ooh, sound like that. They're actually married.
Very strong hands. You work out?
No, but my door at home gets...
So they eventually get up the next morning and get a ride. It's Pennsylvania 650. Or Pennsylvania 6500. No, wait, never mind. That's not that one. But you get the idea.
Is this as fast as it goes?
Takes a few minutes to warm up, and then we ride like the wind.
Yeah. If by ride by the like the wind you mean drive 12 miles an hour, then yeah, ride like the wind. Yeah, it's one thing to be passed by a bunch of driving cars. And a school bus. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's one thing. It's another thing to be outrun by bicyclists, for crying out loud. And jogging. Okay, if the people jogging are going faster than the car, then clearly this guy doesn't know fast. I mean, come on, you have no freaking traffic going in your lane. Couldn't you pick up the speed, for crying out loud? No wonder why this movie takes so damn long. We spent 10 fucking minutes. Even the hikers are going faster than the car. Look, if the hikers are going faster than the car, that tells you how slow this driver is. What a fucking geezer.
Well, it's been a half hour and the wind is going faster than us.
Actually, we're doing 85 right now.
No, I think that's your clock, sir. It says 8:25.
Oh, don't mind that clock. It always breaks down.
Tell me, no offense, but do you really think that we can make an hour quickly?
Oh yeah, and he dies of natural causes in the middle of the ride.
Sits on it.
Well, it's a good thing they were driving slow and there was no cars in the vicinity. That would have been a major accident that would have killed the movie right there.
I strained my neck. It always happens. Always?
Oh, and you're not gonna believe who shows up.
Get it back.
The goddamn cops come and they assume that these two killed him, so guess what? Right back in the slammer. Except they are falsely accused again and get released again.
And a hunter shot him.
What an annoying trend that is.
Down on the car.
So after getting sprung free and it looks like it's gonna be a happy ending, oh wait, there's still 30 minutes left in this movie and of course crazy shit's gonna happen.
It's over, baby. Time to come home.
Home? You mean that shack with the whiskey bottle
Now,
and bacon strip?
I'll give you a wild guess as to what happens next. For Felix and Oscar, that is. A, they get hitched with the two ladies. B, they get their asses handed to them by those two biker dudes. C, they throw one hell of a party. Or D, they get thrown in the same jail by the same cops for the third fucking time. Care to make your wagers? Let's find out what happens.
I know all of them personally.
If your answer was D, congratulations, you win absolutely nothing. Except you get to brag that you got an answer right to an obvious question. Of course they're gonna get jailed. Because this movie has no sense of direction. It's like a goddamn freaking video game. Every time it looks like they're gonna get closer. Nope, right back to the reset point. They're never gonna get to the wedding at this point.
Find out the results.
So you want to bet what happens next? Oh, they get sprung free and eventually end up going to the wedding.
Husband, what's his name? Larry?
No, Barry. No, Barry.
They get a plane ride up to San Wajimahoozy and eventually get there in time for the wedding. Except there's one problem. He doesn't want to get married. What? You don't want to get married? You're telling me that after all this and he decides, I'm going to run away, run up to the roof and not get married? Then what was the point of the previous hour and 20 minutes then?
Maybe it's right for you, it's wrong for me, okay?
He then decides, you know what, screw it, let's just get married and get this over with. Come on.
You said that.
On a second thought, maybe I'll spiff it up a little.
Oh, come on, what's wrong with this one?
He's very sweet.
So, yada yada yada, they get married, they move their separate ways, and just when you think they're saying their final goodbyes and go back their own ways,
A few weeks. But the minute you stop,
yeah, guess what
can
happens?
I have a word with you?
Can you believe it? We'll never play.
Yeah, Felix and Felice don't get it going on because he doesn't like the way she does stuff.
Oh, I gave up my apartment in New York.
To live in Sarasota?
Well, they got hospitals in Sarasota, too, you know.
Are you planning to move in with me again, Felix? Because, you know, it didn't work out the last time.
No. This is just until I find my own place.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you know what's gonna happen here.
It's changed, Felix. I'm still a pig. You're still a human vacuum cleaner.
I know, so if you don't...
God's here, please, for crying out. Ladies, it's possible that in 5 weeks you'll all be moving out.
Yep, Felix lets him stay for a little bit. Oscar lets him stay for a little bit.
Don't mind me, folks. I was just...
And Felix is back to his old stuff.
Oh, thank you. No, that's all right. Boy, that sandwich is looking a little limp. I could retoast that for you in a second. Really? I wouldn't mind.
Poor Oscar the Grouch.
Thank you. This is the biggest, goddamnedest deja vu anybody has ever had. Can we play cards here, please, for crying out loud?
He sums up the movie right fucking there. And just before you know it, there could be an Odd Couple 3. Life After Death. That's right. I'll be directing that one because it's pretty much those two going through the same crap all over again after they're dead. Why not? It took 30 effing years to get this sequel, and by golly, it wasn't worth the wait. This was, I mean, it's great to see those two again and doing the same shit they did in the first movie, but for God's sakes, they're goddamn geezers that were about to fly the coop. Why did we have to force these two out of retirement just to get their money's worth for another Odd Couple movie? Because people were wanting a sequel for so long. For those who wanted a sequel. Otherwise, everybody was quite fine with the first one. I mean, there was nothing wrong with the first one. It did absolutely what it needed to. We didn't need the sequel. Now we need a threequel. And guess what? I'll be directing that one. It's gonna star Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon's bones, whatever's left in their goddamn grave. And then they'll be at it again. I'm serious. I'll just drag them out of their graves, have them reunite, have them star in this movie, and they'll be the first dead people to win an Oscar. Which is ironic since that's Oscar's name. That's how I feel about this sequel. We didn't need a sequel. Now people are going to say, oh, what about a threequel? Or what about a TV show? Yeah, we've had the TV show and it sucks. Stick with the original if you're looking for an Odd Couple movie. And if you like the Odd Couple movie, then please check Willie B. Hobo's review. He barely needs views, for Christ's sakes. Yes, I do, Mama. Please watch my reviews. Spoilers. You can't. I'm the CommanderZander. I remember until the standard grade and Andrew, and neither should you.